302, and this is a special meeting, Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Assessor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, special meeting. It is Tuesday, June 9, 2021, 3 p.m.
Due to the declaration of emergency, this meeting is being held pursuant to authorization from the governor's executive orders. Some or all of the city council members may participate in this meeting by teleconference as authorized by Executive Order N-29-20 issued by the Governor of California on March 17, 2020. Imperial County Public Health Director Janet Angulo has provided the city with orange moderate tier guidelines issued by the state for indoor gatherings. Effective this date, city council meetings will be open for public attendance at 50% of capacity of the city council chambers. All persons entering City Hall will be required to wear a face mask and observe social distancing guidelines. Public participation will continue to be available in the following ways. You can participate via communityspectrum.org/live, via the City Hall Facebook page. You could also participate via Zoom or call in. Information for Zoom is available on today's printed agenda. Members of the public are also able to submit their email comments to ggarcia@calexico.ca.gov by 10 a.m. on Tuesday, June 9th. You are also able to submit your comments via Zoom on the chat. Please submit whether you want to speak on public comments or state the agenda number you wish to speak on.
Roll call.
Mayor Riola Fernandez.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno.
Aye.
Councilmember Ureña is absent. Councilmember Romo.
Mr. Ureña is here.
Okay. Councilmember Romo.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia. Councilmember Ureña has arrived. We have a quorum, Mayor.
Pledge allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mission statement. Lisa, will you lead us?
We pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our unique border community. Viva Calexico.
Okay, do I have approval of the agenda?
So, make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Councilmember Garcia.
Aye.
Councilmember Romo.
Aye.
Councilmember Ureña.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moreno.
Aye.
Mayor Riola Fernandez.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Do we have any public comments?
We have a public comment from Mrs. Carmen Durazo. She says, cultural offerings for our beloved city are so important to improving the quality of life for our residents. It is vitally important to expand economic interests and attract businesses by offering music, drama, film, visual arts, literature, dance, exhibits, and programs at the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center and throughout our city. I hope your vision for this in future budgets includes expanding these opportunities by allocating more funds to make a part-time position there a full-time one, and allocating additional funds for the center to continue enriching everyone's lives through the arts.
Is that all? Okay. Okay, moving forward. Moving into discussion items. Presentation by Recreation Manager Gerardo on the Recreation Department's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2022.
Good afternoon, honorable council members, mayor, and members of the public. My name is Norma Gerardo. I'm the recreation manager for the city of Calexico. So our recreation department has two buildings. We have the Recreation Center and the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. This is your staff. This is our very committed staff. I want you to know them. It's myself, and we have an administrative assistant, a recreation coordinator, a sports coordinator, and a cultural arts assistant. So what is it that we do? We coordinate, recruit, and provide year-round arts, recreational, and sport activities for youth, adults, and seniors. This is where the art exhibitions happen, art activities are done, senior activities, whether it's recreational or physical. Sports at the gym are coordinated also in our department. We maintain an active relationship and partnerships with local organizations to provide programs and services. Some of these local organizations are the local area agency on aging, Imperial County Behavioral Health, Catholic Charities, the Calexico School District, the Calexico Arts Council, Heffernan Memorial Healthcare District, among many, many others. And this is how we provide more, because we partner with other agencies. We organize and provide health and wellness presentations and coordinated provide also special events. This is where our dances happen, health fairs happen. We coordinate field allocations for sports leagues. All the baseball, soccer leagues who are playing around our fields that happens in our department. We coordinate them and we allocate fields. In previous years, we've done also summer pool program as well. And please, if you ever have any questions, please let me know as we move along. So during COVID-19, I would like to start by thanking my staff, because I know you guys are watching. Thank you for stepping up during the difficult times of COVID. We had to close our doors. We had to let go of our instructors. Remember, our staff are not instructors. We coordinate programs and we make them happen, but they are not entertainers, and they don't have experience or an expertise in anything. They're not karate instructors, they're not. So thank you very much, girls, for stepping up and providing the services that you guys are providing. They went from their desks to in front of the camera, because at least we were able to provide online services to the community. And let me point out that we were one of the first ones in the county recreation program to start and provide services to the community online based. Having said that, we have had numerous programs done by my staff and some others by the temporary staffing instructors that we've had, all online based, of course, because of the limitations that we have during COVID. To your left, you will have the kids zone. What is it that we have offered for kids? And also to your right, you would have the adults ones. We have had done 388 online sessions with more than 135,000 views on our Facebook, and 332 people reached on our Facebook. We have had people following us from the interior of Mexico. We have in our exhibitions, we've had people from Czech Republic, Germany, also submitting art to our programs. We have people from, Arizona, you name it, joining our programs. We've had some special events. We had a Santa drive-by during December. We had a Halloween costume contest, among others. And I just posted a couple of those comments on Facebook for you to see how grateful the community is whenever they're able to join one opportunity to be involved. At the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center, we've also been active. We recently hired a cultural arts assistant. Thank you very much, Eduardo. You're great. Thank you to the Calexico Arts Council, because it is through the great relationship, collaboration, and their support that we're able to provide the services and programs that we are offering over there. They're sponsoring our classes, and this is why we are able to provide what you see. So far, we've had 5 art exhibitions. The last 2, we were able to open our doors and invite, taking the protocols that we needed to take and limitations on people who can visit us. We were able to open the doors for people to actually go and view the exhibits. The other ones had to be done online. We've had 3 collective murals as well, and also our regular classes, which are, we had an art class for children with special needs, for instance. And we have music, we have several things. And these are the numbers that you can see for the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. Our priority needs. In front of you, you will only see 3 things. And we do have a lot of priorities at in my department. Everyone is hurting, every department is hurting. I think that you've seen it yesterday, and you will continue seeing it throughout the day today. Our buildings need improvements. That is not the exception in mine. However, understanding the financial climate we're in, I only am asking for you to consider 3 things and 3 things only. I would like you guys to consider a separate line item for rental hall expenses. Now, what would that do? Right now, we're not renting the hall because we are under COVID, but that is moving fast, really, really fast, and that's gonna change very fast. The problem is that I do not have a separate account to take care of cleaning the halls after it's being rented. It comes from my instructor's money. It comes from my temporary staff money. And as it is being impacted, very highly impacted this year. So it comes a point where I need to decide whether I provide a space for the community to hold a special event, because there are not many options in Calexico, I understand that, and not many options that are affordable. I understand that as well. But also to understand is the very limited budget that I have in my department, and I cannot afford renting it if I'm not provided with the monies. The last full year, 2018, 2019 that we had, that's the numbers that I was able to revise and check. We brought in a bit more than $30,000 in revenues. Also, I contemplated the expenses of cleaning the hall, prepping the halls, cleaning the halls before and after the rentals. It comes up to $15,000 a year. So pretty much it pays for itself, and it still brings in $15,000 in revenues. So a separate line item only for that specific service that we want to provide to the community is what is being requested with a $15,000 allocation. Any questions up until now?
My question is this. Okay, you're saying that we by bringing in the rentals, we get 30,000, okay?
Correct.
But we need 15 to keep for the mains or for the cleaning.
Correct.
Okay, when we rent the hall,
Yes.
okay, there's 400 for the cleaning that's added
To the rental fee.
to the rental. So what happens with that money?
It goes into the general fund.
So the bottom line is this: you're only left with 15,000 if you hire somebody to clean.
Yes.
Of
So
the profit.
what we had to spend in that full year of cleaning and prepping the halls for rentals was 15,000. Yes. So that is what comes from my department, from my temporary staff, and again, that temporary staff item pays for my instructors. The instructors that provide those classes to children, youth, and the community.
So who's cleaning the hall right now?
We do the temporary staff as well. So this will be a temporary staff person on call, but only for the rentals of the hall, whenever we have rentals.
So what you're trying to say, we don't have this available, we cannot lease out.
I cannot afford renting the hall if I'm not given those amounts.
find
And
that
let me
too.
explain. On the second line, you will see that for temporary staffing, proposed on this fiscal year is $25,000. Last year, what we got was $47,500. On a 3-year average prior to last year, actual expenses have been 54. So 54 actual expenses the average for the last 3 years. So last year's 47,000 was already a cut from that. Now it's being cut to 25,000, which is a tremendous hit for my department. Because again, we're not the ones that provide the instruction. We need to get temporary staff for that. We need to pay for the expertise of people who do that. So right now, if you were to ask me, if you were not to allocate any more monies to my department, and it is approved the way it is, and you decide to rent the hall and force us to rent the hall, those 15,000 that I need for prepping and cleaning the hall comes from my 25,000 out
Yeah.
of programs. I will be left with only $10,000 in a whole year to provide programs and classes to youth, teens, adults, probably seniors.
Well, maybe I'm not doing the numbers right, but you're saying you bring in 30,000, okay, and it takes 15,000 you needed to clean it. So you
Correct.
still have 15,000 left.
Correct, but they don't go to me. It goes into the general fund, and the general fund may not be used to pay expenses.
Can we create another
Sure.
item, probably, another line item to address that and see if
That's
it's
what I'm
efficient?
being, that's what
Just a
I'm,
subsection, right?
correct. That is
fix
what
it.
I'm being, yes.
Okay,
That's,
so you'll never have the problem. And then also, it's like I was saying yesterday, the same thing with the fire department. The ambulances, your initial investment and your return on investment comes out.
correct.
It's just simple math, right?
Correct.
So the question is, we do an additional line item to fix that on your
Correct.
case, 'cause it's not a whole lot. And so now you're operational, you'll be able to rent it and your return on investment returns.
It pays for itself.
Right, it pays for itself. So maybe
So
creating
we just
another,
separate that from.
create another line item for that, so you won't have to
Yeah,
deal with
because
it.
you know what, I really don't feel that we should
Stop
deprive
renting.
the citizens of using the hall. That
I-
hall has been used forever.
And myself and my staff fully support that idea. But it comes down to what is it that we can afford. And unfortunately, it will be eating more than half of my very limited budget to provide any kind of service to the community. So people will be able to have parties, but children, adults, and teens won't have any programs or very limited programs.
And it's the same situation for the Carmen Durazo Arts Center?
I believe it would be the same thing.
Same?
But, you know, that center, because it's limited to artistic and cultural events, it's not rented as much. So I believe that same line item can afford both buildings for whenever that building is also rented.
So we have facilities in Calexico that we're not really
Utilizing.
investing, and we're not, it just doesn't make, I mean, yeah,
You have any
we have
questions?
to be creative.
No.
Thank you, President. Yes, thank you. I agree with Durazo's comments. In my opinion, it is important to consider with him the budget, a department to culture and history for Calexico, because it's very important the culture and the history. In other words, separate the cultural and the historical from the recreation area, but both areas are very important to the community, but they are different disciplines. In the future meeting, Miguel, on the budget, on the grants received, we could discuss it for the possible, the separate these areas. And the question for Norma, how do other maintain recreation department, how the other cities maintain a recreation department, and you may need help for finding funds or grants for the Miguel Figueroa. What is exactly the problem?
Let me see if I understand. So the problem for not having sufficient funds?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, as you can see from the presentations that you guys had in front of you and the ones coming up, our budgets are continuously being cut year after year. It is just very unfortunate that my department doesn't have line items that have much monies. So whenever there needs to be a cut, unfortunately, my big line item, and by big, it is not really big, but my big line item is temporary staffing, which is the instructors. So that's why programs and services are the ones that are being affected. It's just a matter of financials and how the city is. We understand we're under COVID, and that is nothing that was under our control. Grants are being looked into. Heffernan Memorial, we did apply for Heffernan Memorial, just for your information. Recreation has had applied for a senior program. That's how the senior program has been going on in Calexico for years now, because we get a grant from Heffernan Memorial up until last year. This year that we're still in, we didn't get it. They were focusing on COVID, and it's very understandable. They opened already their grant time for this coming year, 2021, 2022. We applied, and they have their meeting tonight. So I'm hoping to see that meeting going on web-based, and I hope to get good news. That will help us for our senior programs. It will be providing all the programs that we provided in a regular year. Now, if Heffernan Memorial doesn't come through, that's $50,000 less than my original program budget. So I would not be down from $47,000 or $50,000 for programs on temporary staffing. I wouldn't be going from 50 to 25 that is being proposed right now. I would be going from 105,000 to 25 if Heffernan Memorial doesn't come through.
So how much is a Heffernan?
They provided us with $50,000 the last time they gave us a grant. Yes, and it pays for everything related to senior services, from aerobics to dances, health clinics, you name it. Everything that we do relating to seniors, they pay $0 because it's being sponsored by Heffernan Memorial monies.
So this grants that you kept getting from Heffernan, you did not get it last time?
No, not last time. And it was only for 6 months because of the pandemic. It ends right now in June, and they're already open for the whole next fiscal year. Correct.
Any more questions?
One more thing, Mayor. So the school district, the Calexico Unified School District is having a meeting today, and I was looking at the agenda, has to do with the summer program for the pool. And I understand you also had here in your PowerPoint at one point, what you do is like in previous years, summer pool program. Are you working with, what's the?
Okay, so since last year when the pandemic hit, of course, we were contacting the school district to see what were the plans for the pool. Pool would not be open for the summer. They're not back to school, so pool is not open yet. The problem will be next year, 2022, summer of 2022. And we usually start our programs the second week of June. So we need a bunch of money still from this budget, 2021, 2022, and then allocate monies for the next budget for summer alone for the pool program. Because again, I cannot afford paying for the pool program for my department.
Right.
Now, Heffernan Memorial has supported the pool program, and they pay a portion. They pay directly the school it pays for the maintenance and all the supplies they need to do and the work they need to do on the pool. And then the city pays a portion. We pay a portion so that we can have programming. One thing is to have the pool available to us, and another one is to provide programming. If there's going to be classes, if there's going to be just open pool, if there's going to be a party at the pool, that is done through my department. So I'm hoping you guys would consider Measure H or Measure K funds when the time comes to be able to afford having a pool program for Calexico.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I do have a question, and maybe, I know since we're bringing, the pool, I would like to see also, in it's not that it's not related to what we're discussing right now, budget and all of that, but it is. I want to look into what's the understanding or the MOU that exists. I don't know, probably it's not you or Miguel, whoever is responsible for that. What's the MOU or any type of agreement that exists between the city and the school district, and whatever parties, were involved in the construction of the pool, and if there was any type of agreement or commitment to use, or, maybe there's something there that we can start exploring, at least to have, I know that won't help, probably getting the finances, but at least we know where we stand. Because right now, what I'm hearing is that, Heffernan has been helping out in paying some of those expenses. But then also, moving forward, we need to know how we can probably collaborate, between Heffernan, maybe the city, the school district. So having maybe a three-way collaboration. So that's on one. And then also, it is my understanding that there has been also an agreement in using that ninth grade campus at gym. I think, for years during the summer, or after like certain hours, the gym becomes available to the community. So just those facilities that we co-share, because that's also resources for the community, for recreation, for just being able to, our community to have some place to go, our youth, our seniors, everybody. But we need to make sure where we stand on those MOUs, those agreements. And moving forward, I think it's really important that, I know we're in a crunch, but if you're able to generate, revenue, that at least should stay within the department. And yes, there's some expenses, there's some, administrative cost type of thing. But I think if we generate, at least you should keep a portion or a percentage per se, to continue to operate. But that's something that we're going to keep an eye, or at least I'll suggest that we should, look at that, and make sure that it goes back to the community, because the community is paying for those services, so it's just reinvesting or giving it back to whoever is providing those resources also. So, thank you.
Yeah, and then for me, just to piggyback on what Garcia was saying, it's very important to read what the conditions were, what the agreement was, because if we're not, I guess, revisiting that, and then this is supposed to be, because I believe the city gave money, right, for the project, and there should have been some conditions at least. I don't know if it was for free or there's conditions return, and we're not getting that. We need to address that. I think that looking at the MOU would certainly help us make a better decision on that, right?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Do you have any questions, Mr. Ureña?
Hello? There we go. This mask is really... Is this better?
Maybe a little closer.
There. Is this better? Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I just make my brief comment and one question to City Manager Figueroa, I wanted to check if Mr. Risen had a public comment to make at this moment.
I'll just wait until you.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Thank you. So, very brief comment, Ms. Gerardo. Not to sideline the needs that you have, I just very briefly am going to say these are very small figures. I believe your department is worthy of investment. It's really a gold mine that can unlock tourism and attract business activity into our city. So great interest in making sure that you at least fill your basic needs. But like Ms. Durazo said and Commissioner Durazo said in her public comment, your department is really a key department for bringing investment in local tourism, business activity, accessible commercial space, and things of that nature. So with that, I want to thank my fellow council members. The discussions that we have been having on the budget, police, fire, and now recreation have been investment oriented, and I think that's the mindset that we should be having right now at this moment, trying to see, making sure that our investments are going to maximize return and revenue. So with that, I had a brief question for Manager Figueroa on ARPA. You had mentioned that ARPA was going to affect our budget in terms of there was a formula for allocating what we have lost in sales taxes and other impacts of COVID. Do you have at least an estimate of how that formula is going to play out for the 7.5 million? Is it going to be 1 million towards general fund, or do we just not know at this moment?
Actually, today, there was additional information that was disclosed, for which I had Finance Director Lovato take part in the session today, in which additional guidance was provided as to how the cities could make up for the revenue losses. So at this point, there is no calculation, given that today we received that information, but it's being worked on as we speak, so we can have an actual number sooner than later.
Excellent. And just for the record, Manager Figueroa said that we will soon be having a number as to how much of those 7.5 million will come into the general fund that we could potentially fund projects like this that are very much needed. Just very briefly, what I wanted to bring up is investment in the recreation department can also bring great business opportunities to the city of Calexico. Very briefly, the art walk. The private art walk has been a successful private venture for the Grand Plaza and other spaces in our community. There's no reason we can't invest in our city-owned recreation department to do things of that nature. You know, you have a little event, it attracts people. If you have transportation, you can close a street and just have business vendors, and you can literally make money off of a street that is not being used. I think that Calexico tiene un sabor muy distinto a otras ciudades en el Valle Imperial. We have some unique history to offer, to share because of our border status. We can do that through our recreation department and make money off of it and facilitate the establishment of micro businesses, especially as the artist community here in the Imperial Valley, but especially in Calexico, has been growing over the last 5 years, and that's why you have the art walks and things like that. So I would definitely encourage investment in those kinds of projects as we move along and consider the budget and we calculate what is going to come in from ARPA.
Just as a reference, I do believe it is my understanding that we have MOUs for the pool and also for the academy, the 9th grade academy, for the usage of the gym. We'll look into it. And there is collaboration when we work on the pool program. I remember last year when I was just barely helping the city manager with trying to get the conversation started. Councilwoman Romo was still on Heffernan Memorial School District. Right away, we got in contact with each other and contacted the school district to see how is it that the three of us were going to start the conversation and possibly talk about a possible pool program last year. So that's how it works. It is usually the three entities involved when, previously. We'll see about this coming year. Okay. So in front of you, you would have those 3 line items. One would be for just the rental of the cleaning expenses. The other 2 is temporary staff. And it's 2 separate ones because I have 2 buildings and 2 separate accounts. Just like I mentioned, it's being proposed $25,000 for rec, and it's $3,000 for the Cultural Arts Center. I'm proposing to bring it up to $47,000 for rec, $47,500, and $5,000, just $2,000 more for the Cultural Arts Center. Is that enough? No, it's not enough. but at least it provides a little more cushion, and only because we have the support from the Calexico Arts Council is that we are able to do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to provide much at the center. So with an investment of a little less than $40,000, at least I can cover some of the basic needs that my department does for the community.
I did forget to mention, now that you bring up those points, it's very urgent while we're making our investment decisions, not to forget the conversations that we have had up here on council. As ARPA money comes in, there's an urgent need for either an RFP for a consulting firm to help us write grants initially, or to get our own grant writing program going up. I think the seed money from ARPA is something that can enable us to do that and facilitate the investment in departments like recreation, fire, police, etc.
Do you have questions, Mr. Rison?
I just want to go back to the $15,000. In this sense, what Norma's talking about is you get $30,000 a year coming in. She's asking for 15. What about daytime? Who cleans up daytime? There's no custodian there daytime. So I would ask to give her the whole 30,000 and have a part-timer in the daytime, and then have that part-timer at night after the events. Because there's three class reunions waiting to rent that place. One of them is me. So I want to make sure that we get it open next year. So I would recommend the 30,000. The money's there. It's not general fund money. It's really the.
Are you referring to the rental?
Community center money. Like it was up. 30,000. There it is. So just use that.
Excuse me, Mr. Rison, are you referring to the rental revenue?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Right. The rentals. The 30,000 that comes every year. She's asking for 15,000 of that money. I don't know who's cleaning. Is there anybody cleaning the afternoon and all that right now? Is there a custodian there?
So we don't have a custodian. We don't have a staff person, but
You're gonna have activities. You're gonna have activities coming after the COVID.
Correct.
And who's gonna clean? Who's gonna prepare the community center? You have to have somebody working there. It's
So-
only part-time.
thank you,
So I
Mr.
would
Rison.
recommend 30,000, 15 for the after the event, and 15 for the daytime part-time. Should work out.
Thank you, Mr. Rison.
Gracias.
You, in a recent meeting, you guys approved the SER contract. It's a senior working program, and because you approved it, we just started this week having help from SER program participants. We have 3 in our building. They're limited on what they can do, but they're great help if no one is doing it, right? So they're wonderful. We don't have a staff person, so if SED is not available, of course, we wouldn't have anyone, but I need to choose my battles. And if it comes to priorities, I do need a custodian, but I need someone to also clean after rentals. It's 2 different things. A staff custodian won't help me to provide the cleaning after a rental because of the add hours that those cleanings have to be done in. So I need, in a perfect world, I would need an allocation for the expenses of renting the place, and I would also need a full-time custodian for my day-to-day 2 buildings. That's an ideal world. Whether you want to consider that or not, it is up to you. But if I'm only given 30,000, 40,000 that is up there, rather than having a day-to-day person to clean, I can wait for that for a better year, but I do need to provide programs and services. So do give me the money, but allow me to have it on a special line item for the rental of a place and for programs instead. And I'm willing to wait for a custodian if that's what you choose to do. Now, also take into consideration temporary staff, we also bring in some revenues in our classes. It is not much because we try to do programs as affordable as we can give them. So people do pay $20, $25, $30 to register for aerobics, for a cooking class, for whatever we do charge a small amount. So that also brings in some money. So that also can provide some of the funds that I'm requesting on the temporary staff line item. Are there any other questions?
No, I don't have any. Anybody has any more questions?
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Norma.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
attention.
Moving on to item 2, presentation by Library Manager Legaspi on the library's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the council,
Good
city
afternoon.
staff, and those that are joining us virtually. I'm Lisa Legaspi, the library manager for Camarena Memorial Library, and for the library department, actually. I want to provide you this evening an overview of what is it that the library provides to the community. We provide programs and services that to meet the educational, recreational, and informational needs of the community. How do we do that? We help parents, we're there for parents to help them instill the love of books and reading to their kids, and to help them see that the earlier they start providing early literacy, the more benefits that they're going to get as the kids grow older. It's going to benefit not just the kids, but also obviously the parents. We're there to support students, whether they're in elementary school, junior high, high school, college, and beyond. We provide reading incentives, reading programs to entice them to get into the habit of reading and to show them that reading and books can also be fun. So we provide additional programming to complement that. We are there to support schools and teachers, because teachers do believe and appreciate, they know the importance that the literacy provides to the community and the benefits that the library provides to students. So we're there to provide virtual visits, and we participate in career days, and so we are there also for adults. We have adults that might not know how to use a computer, they don't know how to navigate the internet. They might need help with their English reading and writing skills. And some of them might not need that need. They might just need, a suggestions as to what is the next book that is available or any other activity that we can provide to them. And especially during this pandemic, we have been there for the whole Imperial Valley community, not just Calexico. We adapted our services, all of our programs into a virtual setting, and so that we could foster community engagement, community participation, and yes. Oh, I thought you had a question. So during this time of quarantine and at home, we provided a variety of programs for the whole family, and the community received it very well. We received extremely good, positive comments. So they're very appreciative of everything that we provided. So I wanted to ask you to please be extremely proud of the library department, because no other city in the valley, in the Imperial Valley, provides as many programs as Camarena Memorial Library does. So we have 3 service points. We have the Camarena Memorial Library, we have the Carnegie Technology Center, and we have our digital presence, our website, which was recently upgraded. So we have a cleaner layout of the website. I encourage you to take a look. I'm going to be working on also making the changes to the Spanish website. So that should be available in a couple of days. We are promoting our summer family reading program, so I encourage the community to go ahead, take a look. We have many virtual activities, so I encourage everyone to to join us because there's activities for people of all ages. Now I want to show you our organizational chart. As every other city department, we're very short-staffed. There's only myself, the library manager, and then we have a library technician, a library assistant, 2 part-time Hunter employees. We have a full-time vacant reference librarian position that I urge you to allow us to fulfill. Would this be enough? No, it's not enough, because we have 2 buildings, and we have a variety of programs and activities that we offer on a day-to-day basis. So, in the 23 years I have been working for this city, the library department has never been so short-staffed as it is right now. But even with this short staff, our doors might be closed, but your services continue to be open. I want to share with you a couple statistics of what we have been able to accomplish during this past fiscal year, or this current fiscal year, I'm sorry. Through our curbside services, we were able to loan 7,257 books. Our digital platforms were loaned 4,848, whether it be an ebook, an audiobook, a comic, a TV show, or music. We were able to add 1,685 materials to the collection. We issued 249 library cards, whether it be new library cards or renewals. We had a wonderful grant program called SIPBooks. SIPBooks allows us to, our users to request a material, whether it be a book or an audiobook. If we didn't have it in our collection, we were able to purchase it for them, mail it to them through Amazon. So 507 of them were requested to the library, just from July through May 31st. And we have a partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House. We provide snacks on a weekly basis. So families with kids ages 1 to 18 can stop by the library on Mondays at 1, pick up a snack. So far we provided 5,345 snacks. And it also includes complete meals, because during the summer they provide a complete meal. So we provide activities for children and teens. We had 37 baby time programs, 60 story time programs, 37 Crafty Tuesday programs. So this was weekly programs, and I want to point out that story time and Crafty Tuesday includes a craft component. So every month we put together about 25 packets with the craft activities for the whole month. Families came and pick it up, and then they join us via Zoom. If it was a story time program, we read books, sang songs, and created a craft activity together. The STEAM Lab, and we had 17 of them. We did not provide them materials for that program. We used commonly household items that they might have, or something that is affordable. So kids got into doing science projects. We had team programs, whether via Zoom or Instagram. We had 5 family nights at home. A family night, it's a program, it's kind of a staple program of the library, but we used to have between 100, when it was a low attended program, to 300 people at one time in the library, everybody walking around, moving from one station to the other, from reading to doing a craft activity to playing a game. So we incorporated that. We continue to hold our 8-week summer family reading program. We were able to visit 18 classrooms virtually. Most of them were for Calexico Unified School District, and a couple of them we visited Dogwood Elementary in Heber, virtually, obviously. We collaborate with other city departments. So we collaborated with the Calexico Police Department for the annual Kits and Badges. So we provided the literacy component. So we gave all those, it was a little bit over 40 kids, a very nice tote bag, some books, craft activities, school supplies, and library information so that they could know that, what the library has to offer them. So this is I want to point out this picture of this baby Max, was 10 days old, and he's not a Calexico resident, he resides in El Centro, so the mom brought him to the library to introduce him and to come and pick up books and craft packet for for his sister. So there's a few pictures of some of the baby time programs. Crafty Tuesdays, this is kind of like what they look like. Then parents send us pictures of the kids, using the craft activity that they completed it. STEAM Lab, they did marshmallow structures, they created a marble craft activity, and a very popular story time. During our family nights, we usually invite a member of the community to read. We had Mario Beltran from the Consulado de Mexico providing information about the importance of Mexican Independence Day. We have several times Jamie and Carolina from the Recreation Department. They always providing a wonderful and fun, they put the cherry on top of anything that we do. We had our fire chief be one of the readers for a pajama party. We had Officer Gonzalez and other Calexico Police Department officers. Even the chief has also read through either for a summer or some of the activities. We also had Officer George Tucker from the Imperial Regional Detention Facility. He recently published a children's book. So he gave us the honor of introducing his book during the Dia del Niño program. So he was also there, and he had some kids read through some of the lines of the book, and some of those kids are going to receive a free copy of the book. We offer programs for adults. We offer a weekly conversation group for people that, sometimes in Calexico it's a little difficult that you don't find ways to practice your English speaking skills. So we offer an opportunity for people to meet and, in a safe manner, just talk and practice, and everybody helps each other. We have a book club. Our book club members are not, before the COVID, we always had between 10 to 15 members attending on a monthly basis, but during COVID, not everybody wanted to join Zoom. So out of that issue came the Vintage Club. That's how that Vintage Club came to exist. So not everybody, we wanted to provide something for adults 55 years old and older. So we had some extra copies of books, gently used books in English and Spanish. So we made a club, and we added mandala sheets and coloring pencils and crossword puzzles and some other activities, so that those that everybody was quarantined at home, so that they had something instead of just watching TV and watching the news, something positive to look forward to. So we've offered this club for 8 months now. So far we have completed 200, we have given out 200 packets. I also want to point out that during a conversation with the Imperial Regional Detention Facility, they were asking me, how can we contribute? So I pointed out that I was running out of books for the Vintage Club, so they decided to create a book drive among their members, and they donated 208 books so that we can continue with providing a book on a monthly basis. We also provide English as a second language classes 3 times a week. And those classes were offered at the Carnegie Technology Center, but obviously we cannot meet in person, so we turned them into an online class. So we've had between 40 to 50 students participate on a weekly basis. We also started a library learners book club, because our regular book club might be a little bit too advanced to those that are, working on improving their English skills. So we just recently created this separate book club. We had Charlie Samarripa, a Calexico native, published his first book of poems, and he gave us the honor of introducing his book at a library program. We also held 2 emotional health and awareness presentations, one for kids and one for adults. And just a brief pictures of some of the Vintage Club members, either showing our activity, the project activity that we provided, or sharing a book with family members, ESL class, and conversation group. Here's a few pictures of Charlie Zamarripa's presentation. So we want to continue. So in addition to the day-to-day activities we offer to people of all ages, we incorporate special activities to to try to keep the community engaged. So before Veterans Day, we reach out to the community and ask them if we wanted to do a special tribute to veterans. So we asked them to submit pictures. We got a very good response. They submitted pictures. We created a slideshow, just a small token of appreciation towards our veterans. Usually Santa Claus visits the library in December when we have our family night in December. It was not possible this past December, so we created an ugly sweater contest and a letter from Santa. We did the same for Valentine's Day, National Library Week, Mother's Day, and we're requesting pictures for Father's Day. So any fathers out there would like to have their picture with their sons and daughters, send it to us and we'll add it to the slideshow. Just a couple of pictures of the veterans. Obviously Santa sent a letter, and you see the smile and the happiness of the kids receiving a letter from Santa. Obviously Santa recommended them to keep on reading and visit the library. Some of the pictures for National Library Week. Now, obviously we rely heavily on general fund monies to fund our programs. But
This for you?
I'm sorry?
For you?
For this year, yes. So we are always on the lookout for grant opportunities that can allow us to either augment, improve, or extend whatever we are already providing. So the California State Library offered a grant opportunity to augment our electronic books. We're considered a rural library. Obviously, a budget for books and electronic media is not the greatest. So we applied for a grant and we got $5,000, and so that's how we are able to offer Hoopla for our residents. Hoopla is a digital platform that allows you to check out either ebooks, audiobooks, comics, TV shows, music. Then the state library once again offered a second opportunity, which we took advantage of. We got another $5,000 and we acquired TumbleMap. That's a picture book platform that concentrates on math. Then under the CARES Act, once again, the California State Library offered us BrainFuse JobNow, VetNow. That's a platform that specializes and helps connect veterans with benefits. But not only veterans, it also helps just the general community. If you are looking for applying for a job and you need to revamp your resume or create one, or you want practice, interview tips. They have coaches, online coaches that can help anybody as long as they have the library card. The ZipBooks grant program, this current year, we received $9,500, which we spent them all. So those are books that were able to be mailed to our residents. The Library Services and Technology Act offer a grant for libraries that we're going to offer a Dia del Niño. They call it Dia del Niño program. So we applied for it, and with those monies, we were able to, we've been doing crafts for the whole year, but we only provide the materials. We don't provide the glue or the scissors or the crayons. So we were able to provide 130 kids that picked up a packet with crayons and glue, and so that was a nice thing to offer them. I recently applied to launch at the library program, and we will be granted $1,800. Since we have already a partnership with the Calexico Neighborhood House, they provide us the food, we're going to be able to provide a literacy component, which means that we're going to be able to give out books and craft activities for every kid that comes to the library to pick up a lunch. I'm hoping that by July we will be able to start offering these extra activities for community. And last but not least, the California Library Literacy Services. It's a grant that we've been applying for and getting for over 14 years. This year decided to apply for family literacy services, monies, and we were granted that extra $10,000. So this year we're going to receive $44,088, and this grant helps us provide adult literacy services, which means that we recruit volunteer tutors, we train them, and then we match them with people that are want to improve their English and writing skills. So they provide tutoring one-on-one. We buy some other software. One of them is Learning Upgrade, Voxy, for those that are waiting for a tutor, because as you can imagine, we do have a lot of people wanting the service. We don't have a big list of tutors. So I encourage the community, anybody that wants to give back to the community and would like to spend at least 2 hours a week helping someone improve their English reading and writing skills, to reach out to us. We would really appreciate that. Now, our budget is a thin budget. And this coming fiscal year, I see a reduction of $30,000, so it's kind of similar as to recreation. It might not be a big number compared to other departments, but to our department, it's a huge number, because that money is heavily impacting, once again, contract staff. As I mentioned before, there's only 3 full-timers, including myself, and we have 2 kind of part-time staff. If this reduction goes through, we're not going to be able to hire. We have a partnership or MOU with Imperial Valley College with the work-study program where we train their students, with life skills. They learn how to customer service and how to, deal with the public and different things. The library takes advantage of this program. Calexico Police Department and the Recreation Department takes advantage of this program. But our lineup, the monies for that fund had been reduced dramatically, and also the amount that we have to pay our ESL class instructor. So I urge you to please consider this, putting back this money into our budget, so we might continue to provide the services that we are offering. So what do we need? We need staff. We need to be able to fill the reference librarian position that is already allocated in our budget. A custodian, the library is not open right now. We do have a contract person that comes in and cleans twice a week, but once we reopen, increased sanitation will be, of utmost importance. So we're going to need someone to be there for more hours. And obviously library assistants. With 3 people, it's kind of hard to manage 2 buildings. So that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
What is the cost of operating the library? What is that cost in general?
The whole budget, you mean? The cost for?
Yeah.
Ms. Lobatos, could you have the?
About 500,000.
Yeah, but it was
600.
a little bit under that.
Miguel, what is the cost of operating the library or whatever department? Because they are public funds and the citizens must know the cost of each public department. What is that cost?
What is the cost?
Do you understand?
The finance director mentioned that it's
Yeah.
about $500 million.
¿No lo tiene, señorita Lobato?
En el budget que les entregué, there's the cost for each.
No, pero no viene, no como lo quiero.
I'm
Ok, disculpa, cuando tú tienes una área departamental pública y quieres saber el costo-beneficio, qué le está produciendo a la ciudadanía, tú tienes que saber todo lo que implica, desde su edificio, el costo de agua, como tú sabes, y absolutamente todo. Eso no lo he visto, la verdad nunca lo he visto. Entonces, para que la ciudadanía diga, wow, tenemos un departamento X trabajando, y ahí entran los poquitos empleados que decías tú, Norma, los que tienes poquitos tú. O sea, puede ser el resultado que el departamento de ella, el de Norma o cualquier otro, esté operando bajo un nivel muy bajo de recursos. Y para eso necesitamos ese análisis, Miguel. Si no, ¿cómo nos damos cuenta? O sea, presentan nada más lo que realmente ocupan y necesitan. Y les agradezco, la verdad.
Mrs. Romo, excuse me, pero señora Romo,
Sí.
con todo respeto, but you need to say it in English so people could understand.
Okay, I need this report, Miguel. What is the cost benefits for each department. Thank you. Thank you.
Any more questions? Do you have any questions today?
A couple questions and some comments on the library department. So for the first one is things that I've said about the other departments. Hunter employees, we really need to get away from that. It's not good for our organizational structure. I think a department as important as library and any other department deserves to have at least employees that are paid a little bit more than minimum wage, have medical benefits. It's better it's worth the cost for organizational stability so that you can keep these employees and keep training them instead of just cycling through Hunter employees. But to what I was going to say about the library department, I think this year is a very good year to start thinking about reimagining library services for the 21st century. I think that we have two main options that we can use to move us forward, and it's going to be either collaboration with the school district or grant writing, of course, right? I believe, like I'm sure the rest of the council believes, that an educational experience is not limited to the schools. An educational experience for any student is their community, and Camarena Library for years has been unfortunately a place where, fortunately and unfortunately, a place where many students and many parents depend on to get a pseudo kind of childcare. And I've seen it with my own eyes because I've been a student recently, that you're understaffed, you have a busy library with the expectation of a quiet space so people can read, and because there's such a great need in the community, special needs kids, and nothing against them, and more responsibility on us. Due to lack of childcare, they come to Camarena Library, and we don't have the staff to engage them productively, right? You know, the library assistants are doing 1,000 things. They're not able to attend to a tantrum or to some emotional need that a student with a disability might have there. And so I wanted to ask a question then. I know that the library is part of the school district's network where you can, when you're a student at Calexico Unified and you want to check out an AR book, you can, when you search for books, Camarena Library's books are included in that. Are we still doing that?
No, we're not. We're separate, but it's our catalog. The school district moved. We kind of ended that collaboration. They moved to another computer information system, library information system. I'm sorry, but still, our catalog, we continue adding AR level to our books. So anybody that wants to continue with the AR program can check our catalog, and they're going to be able to find the books available at the library at that level.
Excellent. So with that collaboration with the school district, were we ever paid by the school district for that service that we provide to them in any way, partially?
We were, yes, they paid the bigger amount of the cost for the system. So yes, we were collaborating, but we always collaborate with the school district.
Excellent. That's exactly the type of healthy collaboration that I was going towards, because the way that I at least in my vision, and I humbly ask the community and the rest of the council to complete so we can all imagine together. This library department is a safe space. As we celebrate Pride Month, it's a safe space for LGBT students that might have unsafe households to return to. It's a safe space for the 2,600 homeless students that we have in the city, where they can at least expect a warm meal. There's something to do. And it's also a safe space for anyone, any student that's in a situation of domestic violence, abuse, and things that we need to resolve in our community. So as we reimagine our library further than just a place where you can get books, because it's childcare, it's a safe space, it's all of this stuff. We also have to bring that in so we can make that argument in grants and make that argument in collaborations with the school district, because in a way we are helping them with their essential function, and I'm sure they would be thrilled with anything that helps the students after hours so we can get more academic performance and we can have a better school district and a better community at the end of the day. So what I really want to encourage the library department, the council, as we get into this investment oriented mindset, is literacy is not just books, right? Literacy is a whole bunch of other things, especially when you're talking with students with, we don't use the word disabled anymore, we say differently abled students. Differently abled students, we want to get opportunities funded to engage them. We want not just reading literacy, we want emotional literacy, we want artistic literacy, we want pseudo-therapy, right? We want mental health resources, we want verbal therapy, musical therapy, not therapy, literacy, but we can also incorporate types of therapies in our grants. We have a lot of opportunities reimagining Camarena Library to reach its fullest potential, and it really starts here with the investment-oriented mindset, with the ARPA money that's coming in, and what it really comes back to at the end of the day with all of this is us as a council, we really need to enable our departments to go after those grants. RFP, in-house grant writer, whatever it is that we decide the details, but we have to do it, and we have to do it in this year. We're gonna get the money to kickstart, seed money, but I just wanted to share that vision, and I hope this conversation continues. I wanted to thank you for your hard work. I know Camarena Library is not easy with the staffing levels, but we need to work hard to make it better. So I thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Just a note, we do have a program in collaboration with all the county, with all the libraries in the Imperial County called Libraries on the Spectrum. Just before the pandemic hit, we started offering programs and recruiting families with kids on the autism spectrum to come in and to provide them, because usually, as Mr. Ureña mentioned, if they have a disability, they're not able to gather with other kids because parents get oh, my kid is yelling, or my kid is misbehaving, and everybody's going to be looking bad at them, and that is not very comforting for the parents or the child. So we started providing a different program after hours, just for families and the kids on the spectrum, and besides just books and activities and different, so that they can also familiarize themselves with the library. Unfortunately, COVID hit, we had to put those on hold, but we're gonna go back in and continue offering those programs.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Moving on to
Mayor,
presentation third, presentation by Public Works Manager Palomino on the Public Works Department's proposed budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2022.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, staff present, and those via social media. My name is Liliana Palomir, and I am the Public Works Manager Administrative for the Public Works Department. Today, I will be giving an overview of our Public Works budget for fiscal year 21-22. In addition, I will also be giving our wish list. In case I know that there's some items and positions that we requested during the budget process, and unfortunately, due to lack of funding, both in the general fund as well as in some enterprise fund, we will not be able to fill those positions. But I will be providing you a wish list, so in the future, when revenue comes in, you can consider funding whether the items or the positions. The Public Works Department provides essential services to the city of Calexico and is composed of 14 divisions, which is the Public Works Administration, Engineering, Fleet and Equipment Maintenance, Park Maintenance, Facility Maintenance, Streets, the Calexico International Airport, Transit, Solid Waste, our water treatment plant, our water distribution, our wastewater treatment plant, our wastewater collection, and also 95% of our capital improvement program. As Public Works Department, which is the division, is responsible for providing and maintaining the city's infrastructure, requesting funds for project, designing and overseeing the construction of those projects, implementation and coordination of specific programs dealing with solid waste management and other related issues. We also do a lot of coordination between public and private sectors. We also monitor and evaluate programs in our operation. In addition to, we also, for all projects that we have and also the funding, we comply with federal and state and local laws. Our Public Works Administration Division is composed of course, the city manager oversees Public Works, and myself, and then I have an executive assistant. I have a project inspector position, which is vacant and going through the recruitment process. I also have an engineering technician, and part of the budget for fiscal year 21-22 is we are proposing to hire a project coordinator and an associate civil engineer. The project coordinator and the associate civil engineer will be funded through the capital improvement program. It will not be funded through the general fund. And I will discuss about the capital improvement program a little later during my presentation. The Public Works Administration budget just alone, I provided you a table, which the table represents the budget we have for fiscal year 2021, which is currently have, and then our proposed budget for 21-22. There is an increase of about $14,000 between this year and our proposed current year. But for future consideration or adjustments, I would like to request an additional $15,000 because hopefully once we allocate a person for the associate civil engineer as well as the project coordinator, he or she will need to have computers, they will need to have desks, have the appropriate equipment to do the work that they will be providing to the city. Our next division is the Fleet and Equipment Maintenance Division. The Fleet and Maintenance Division provides preventative maintenance, equipment repairs, and troubleshoots a wide range of vehicles and equipment, and this is citywide, whether it's the Public Works, whether it's, for example, Recreation has a vehicle, library, the police, the fire. The city has approximately 110 current vehicles and equipment. There are some vehicles and equipment that we are unable to fix in our department, but our department transfers them to either another shop or to the dealership if they have any type of warranties. Our fleet division provides maintenance to approximately 20 vehicles and equipment on a weekly basis. The organizational chart for our for our fleet and equipment maintenance is I have one supervisor of the fleet maintenance. I have one mechanic 2. I have another mechanic 2 that is currently vacant, and we will begin the recruitment process. I have a mechanic 1 service advisor, and then I have another limited mechanic service advisor. The limited service mechanic is just like a part-time. The budget for our fleet division in fiscal year 2020-21, it was $156,445, and then for 21-22, it's $1,082,949. You can see that there is well, there is, you can see an increase, but I think what I focus more on is, for example, our salary and benefits are 160 for fiscal year 21-22, but our expenditures are $22,000. So in a whole year, my fleet division only has $22,000 for uniforms, for gasoline, for vehicle repairs. For this reason, if in the future there's funding possibility, I would like to request at least another $15,000 so they can purchase a tire mounting machine. We had one, but it has not, it doesn't meet right now the requirements, so we had to stop it before an employee gets hurt. So we would like to replace that tire mounting machine. We would also like to replace shop tools, a storage box. Those are small items, but it goes a long way. You know, our employees don't have the correct tools or the sufficient tools to do their work. Also, I'd like to purchase a parts washer that is needed in our department. If you guys have any questions, just let me know before I go to a different division or. Our next division is our park maintenance. Our park maintenance, we provide maintenance to all city parks, green areas, baseball fields, public restrooms, as well as public facilities, meaning the library, recreation, the fire department, the police department. The city has a total of 22 parks, which total about 60 acres. And the city has a total of 122 acres of open space, which is green areas and retention basins. Yes.
I have a question on the parks budget, park maintenance division. If you can go to the next slide.
Oh, this one?
No, previous one? There we go, okay. So in this budget, where is, I know it's gonna be, maybe it's a combination of these, maybe we can estimate. How much does it cost to take care of the grass in the city? Like in general, like the green spaces that we talk about, the cutting of the grass, the watering.
Okay, let me go real quick to the organizational chart, so just a second.
Yeah.
So the organizational, on my parks division, I have a supervisor that is 50%. He does 50% of parks as well as 50% of streets. I have just one crew leader, and then I have 4 permanent part-time laborers. Also, I do have money as contract services, and we contract 2 temporary part-time through a temporary agency, and they're only allowed to work 999 hours. So once they're done with the 999 hours, I have to get another temporary part-time to do the work. Sometimes our funding is reduced, so I'm not able to provide as much service, get much of the hunter, well, it's the hunter agency who we do the temporary stuff. To go back to Councilmember Ureña's question, for example, for 2021, I only had a budget of $392,000, of which $133,000 was only for only for maintenance or expenses. The rest of the $259,000 was for salary and benefits. For fiscal year 21-22, you can see a budget of $452,000, but out of the $452,000, $257,000 is for salary and benefits, and the only funding left over is $195,000, and that is only for the maintenance, which means, of course, uniform for our employees, any fixtures like sprinkler heads, sprinkler valves. As I mentioned, we have 22 parks, we have green areas, we have retention basins, and that is not enough funding that can carry me over for a whole year. That's why I'm requesting, if funding becomes available, I'm requesting to reclassify our permanent part-time employees. Our permanent part-time employees, the 4 of them, I think they have between maybe about 5 years and they've been permanent part-time employees for about 5 years. So I would like to request to have them become full-time employees. I also would like to request at least an additional 2 part-time labor positions so we can have enough crews. Right now, our maintenance schedule, the week that we work 5 days, we do the longer or the bigger parks, and the week where the employees work for 4 days, they just do certain parks. So if we have additional crews, I will be able to at least have 2 crews doing both parks at the same week.
Let me focus in my question a little bit, because I know it's hard to estimate, but we can come to an estimation, and if we need more time, obviously it's something we can discuss a little bit more in detail. Say for example, salaries and benefits, 2020-21. This is just park maintenance, right?
Yes,
Okay.
just park maintenance.
So just out of non-operations, just salaries, how many of your work hours go into watering grass, cutting grass, anything having related to like the greenery of grass in the city?
Well, they take about maybe
60?
an hour to 2 hours per park. And that's when they do the cutting. We have crews where the one crew just does the cutting and the watering, and then we have the second crew that picks up the trash. So, I mean, I can't guess, but you're talking about 3 hours per park.
3 hours per park? How much total goes into a park? How many hours total? Like 3 hours out of?
No, all the employees within the park division, they just work parks.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, it's because it's.
So you said 3 hours goes into watering plus cutting, ¿verdad? Okay. The trash and the other stuff, how many is all the other stuff? How many hours typically?
I would say about, because our parks are heavily used, so they go pick up the trash almost every day. So I would say maybe it takes them about maybe 15 to 20 minutes per park to just pick up the trash, put it in the vehicle, and then go to their next destination.
So, and I'm sorry to labor this, but I'm almost done. So you're saying 3 hours for cutting and watering grass, about 20 minutes to pick up trash, and anything else that they do at the parks?
Well, there's some parks that, right now, through COVID parks, they have the restrooms that are closed, but they also have a crew that does the cleaning of the restrooms, and that takes them about maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending. Some of the parks need to be cleaned on a daily basis, or even twice a day.
Okay, got it. That answers it. Anything else that they do that I'm forgetting?
Well, they also have to take the time of making sure that there's some parks that are automatic, that have automatic sprinklers. There are other parks that don't, so they have to go manually and turn on the water. So that's another responsibility.
That's watering grass then.
Yeah.
That's saca con el grass. So what I'm trying to get at is from what Ms. Palomita is telling me, most of the labor, which would really translate also a percentage of operating costs, most of it goes into watering and taking care of just grass, right? And so now as the ARPA money is coming in, we have a chance, and as we imagine and apply for grants under Public Works for park maintenance, I really want to take the responsibility of grass off of the Public Works Department. And I think there's a creative way that we can do it that the city of Palm Springs has implemented. 21st century, just look at what's happening in the Colorado River. This region is running out of water, and while it hasn't hit us directly, water allocations are being cut in Arizona, Utah, and other places just because they're old contracts. The river is drying. We need to be an eco-minded city, and we need to save water. But if we switch from grass to native plants, soil, shades, much like most of Palm Springs, we can actually save a majority of our park maintenance budget and reallocate it into something else, right? If I'm interpreting correctly, and
Well, there are certain areas that we can probably transform into like desert landscaping or items like that, but you do have to remember that we have, and Norma's here, and she'll probably not, we have several leagues that use our parks in a daily basis, whether it's soccer, whether it's baseball, softball. So if we start implementing doing native, or if we start doing desert landscaping, those leagues will not be able to use it for practice or games. So we would have to do some type of
Yeah, so,
80-20 or
Exactly, but have some kind of proportionality to say we're gonna, designate certain space for the ones that need the grass, or maybe with the money saved, we're gonna save even further and we're gonna make it synthetic grass, so that we don't have to, because this is expensive. This is 259,000. The amount of money we're spending on just taking care of grass. We can really renovate the park maintenance division, and I think that's pretty much the main point. And I would definitely like to explore that, maybe in a formal proposal. What you think based on how much the leagues use the parks, how much you think, whether it should be a 70-30, where can we start, where is it cheapest to start, is it Teco Monroy where we should start that kind of renovation, how much would it cost, how much would it save? I would like to see that, if possible, as a part of this budget, and if not possible, as an amendment to the budget that we're about to approve.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, the leagues use it on a daily basis. I know I do get a lot of complaints, whether it's the league or community members, that these parks don't have grass, or these parks need grass. But as I mentioned, we have leagues that use it year-round. We never give our parks the opportunity for us to seed and maintain and watch it look green because the leagues are using it on a daily basis. That's why Norma, myself, and the recreation department are talking about, we need to, I know some leagues are gonna not like this, but stop some leagues during a temporary time just to provide maintenance to a park. Because we do, they're multi-purpose fields. We have, like I mentioned, soccer, softball, and we don't allow to provide maintenance to those parks. So maybe we can work on a calendar with them, so we can start providing the proper maintenance to some parks.
And thank you, Mr. Ureña, for those progressive comments and ideas. But I've gotten a lot of also feedback from those leagues, having access and having parks in just areas, right? And I go back to an earlier comment, from our first session, and it's part of our upcoming agenda for the next meeting, parks. So, and I'm of the idea, yes, I understand the challenges about water and, conserving water. And I don't think we are here in a situation where we're looking at the needs, and we're looking at the needs of the community, from, rec to library to everything else. But I think, also one of the things, I think if labor is also important, I have gotten approached by people that want to volunteer, that want to help. I know there's liability in with that also, but we have to work on that. I don't think we can get away, and I hear you with your ideas, probably changing landscaping. But for now, I think our community, our youth, even our adults, they still want those green areas, right? Maybe we can transition little by little, but maybe in areas where there is no activity, which I don't think there are many that don't have any activity. In fact, if we have more, there will be more activities for our community. But my point here is that engaging the community also to help, and I think they're willing to help. Looking for resources, but I think it's managing, and I applaud everything that you do. The staff, the park staff, I see them, a crew of 4, and they do a wonderful job. Hats off to them. They don't stop. It doesn't matter the time of the year, and they do, not just on the watering, I wouldn't say watering the park, but, mowing the grass, edging, and they do a job very effective, very beautiful, and, they're very, when it comes to their timing, it's not that I'm micromanaging, but I just happen to, see them when they're at work. So again, they do a wonderful job. They do a lot with the little that we provide. So if there is something that I will support, it's again, your requests are on point. But before we transition, Mr. Ureña, I think first we have to address these issues that we have in front of us, the staffing, because we don't have enough staff. Even in transition into a new landscape, that costs money. Bringing artificial grass, that costs money. So for now, at least if we can just manage what we have and then transition. I hear you about grants. I'm for that, but the sooner that we bring someone in grants, the sooner we can start looking into that. But for now, let's get a handle on this. Appreciate your presentation on this. And again, kudos to the crew that, our staff that does this. So great job.
Thank you. I will let them know.
I would just like to say I agree with that general timeline that you're presenting.
I also, like, for example, on the request, as I mentioned, we requesting additional staffing, as well as, I also get a lot of calls of, the light is out on such and such park. So I would like to request also additional funding for repairing of the lights. Also, as I mentioned, there's restrooms that, of course, right now we have them closed, but hopefully coming June 15th, we are able to open them back up. We have a lot of vandalism in the restrooms. Sometimes when staff gets there, they don't have the faucet or even the sink. So we need to replace those on a basis every time they're being vandalized.
Question on the facilities, on the restrooms. I know they're not open on the pandemic, but when they're open, how often are they checked for supplies or clean or picked up the trash? Is that done daily?
It's done
how?
daily, yes.
Okay.
But there's some restrooms that we do twice a day.
Okay.
For example, the restroom here at Rockwood Plaza, it's done twice a day.
Okay. Thank you.
Also,
I'm sorry, and that is done by
staff.
staff from your
Park staff.
department? Okay. In parks? Okay. Thank you.
Also, I would like, again, if I have the staff, get them the proper equipment so they can do their job in a safe manner. Also, I do get a lot of requests in parks for bleachers, for canopies, for benches. The other day I got a request for dog waste signs in our parks, which are a great idea. But I only have, again, $133,000 for our current fiscal year, which is 2021. And I will be having hopefully $195,000 for fiscal year 21-22. So that's where I and staff have to make a tough decision whether do I buy dog waste signs or do I fix the sprinkler valves or the sprinkler heads. And I know the person that requested these signs, is constantly calling me and, hey, where's my signs, or where's the signs? But I just, have to let them know that these are tough decisions that I have to make. So I can't provide everything that is asked for with a budget of just basically $195,000.
Just very briefly, administratively, what you're saying is a very real situation, and I'm sure just about every department head has been in your position, whether it's library, like where are these books, where is that? I think it would be very safe to just tell them those budget decisions are made at City Council. Habla con nosotros.
Okay, I will let them know. So our next division is the Facility Maintenance Division, and it provides maintenance support to all city-owned facilities. And also sometimes it includes janitorial services, plumbing issues, repairs, or also light fixtures. As Norma and Lisette spoke, our facilities are over 10 years old. We haven't given them the love that they need for several years due to the financial issues that we were having. So when they have any type of problem, they give me a call, and I send, we only have, well, actually, we have 17 facilities. Our facility maintenance division, it's only one person, which is our building maintenance worker. So if he's not here at City Hall, he's at the police department, the fire department, the library. He also does our graffiti abatement program. So he's also around town trying to cover any graffitis that we have. The budget for the facility maintenance division for fiscal year 2021 is 128, which is only 34,000 for maintenance. And also for 21-22, it's 127, which is just 41,000 for, again, uniform, any type of cleaning supplies that require. If let's say that some restrooms or even facilities need plumbing issues, I have to use that money. Or for example, there are buildings that we lease for the Mexican consulate. They have issues with their wheelchair ramps, so we use money in that division. Here at City Hall, we have an elevator, so we also use that money for that division. And it is, in my opinion, not enough, but it would be great if we can get at least an additional 2 building maintenance workers, so they can also help the library. They also can help the recreation, police, fire. I know in previous city councilwoman Romo had mentioned that there's need for some improvements at the traffic control substation. If we had the additional employees, they would be able to see what they can do in that area to help out the substation. Our next division, it's our streets department. It provides maintenance to all city streets, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, alleys. It also installs signage, it paints stripes on lanes, curb painting. Also, we work in conjunction with the Imperial Irrigation District to fix the street lights. Or also, if the city installs a street light, we need to give them a call so they can energize it. We also work with Caltrans. Calexico has 2 state routes, which is 111 and Route 98. So any work that needs to be done in the city side, we have, if it's, we have just worked in conjunction with them, because of course we would have to go through the necessary permits if needed. The streets department, again, has the supervisor that deals with streets, parks, and I forgot the facility maintenance. Then we also have only 1 crew leader. We have a painter, we have a heavy equipment operator, we have an electrician, and then I have 1 full-time laborer, and then I have 4 permanent part-time laborers. Also, if there is contract services, we provide sometimes 2 Hunter employees through the temp agency. The street division doesn't have funds or does not use at this time general funds. The funding for this division comes out of the highway user tax. In fiscal year 2021, we had a budget of 1.8, but only 1.1 million was used for the expenses. For fiscal year 21-22, we have a budget of 1.4, which expenses will be 836 plus minus the 291,000 that we pay Republic Services for the street sweeping. Therefore, our department will only have 545,000 to purchase stop signs, purchase paint, purchase asphalt, purchase concrete, to do any type of improvements within our city. So I am requesting for future consideration that the 4 permanent part-time employees be considered as full-timers. I'm also requesting for an additional full-time laborer, also another heavy equipment operator, and also an additional painter. Right now, sometimes our painter is sent by himself to paint streets, and that is unsafe. He needs somebody else to be there to be monitoring the surroundings while he paints the street. So sometimes I have to take a laborer or the heavy equipment operator from another job to assist him so we don't put him in harm's way.
I do have some brief questions on streets, and I promise I won't belabor the point. There has already been a conversation promised on the details of climate and such, but this is just strictly on what's presented here in the budget. But before I get there, a request to the departments as we go into final approval this June 16th, if we could please have a checklist, because there's a lot of points that have been requested from Camarena, from police, fire, everyone. When we approve the budget, whatever is proposed, if we could just get a checklist of how many of these needs, like whether it's reclassify for permanent part-time, just for the sake of transparency for the community and for ourselves, whatever we are approving, we should have a checklist that says, is the budget that we are approving, does it meet what we were asked for reclassifying? Yes, or no, it's not in the budget, and just a big old list, so that we're very transparent about the obligations that we're meeting, the ones that we're failing to meet, and so we can have a conversation about why that is and how we can move forward. My question on this, you said most of this was the highway user tax.
Correct.
How much of this is SB1, or is that the same thing?
No, SB1 and the highway user tax are 2 different fundings.
Okay.
This is just the highway user. This is just the highway user tax. SB1, if I recall, the agenda item was about 890,000. Because of the low funding, I guess you can say, for my department, when the item was presented during last city council meeting, I allocated several funding from SB1 to assist us with purchasing concrete, to purchasing asphalt.
So streets division has nothing to do with border traffic, it's exclusively repairing
It's
streets?
repairing, correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, border traffic, the traffic controllers, that's all done by the police department.
Excelente. Muchas gracias.
So in total, this is only for the general fund. If there is funding available, as I mentioned, in the future, I totaled up of how much it would be for our public works admin, fleet, park maintenance facility, streets division. And the reason I put streets division, even though I mentioned that it is the highway user tax, is because for fiscal year 21-22, we are only estimating $1,065,433 of, I guess you can say, revenue. So there will be, if I may awarded the opportunity of, doing the reclassification or the full-time employee or the operator, it would need to come out of the enterprise fund. There will be enough revenue from the user tax to do the reclassifications or hire the additional personnel that we need for the department. So in total, I am requesting, just for the general fund, $851,307. Our next division is the Calexico International Airport. Our airport, as I mentioned during our PowerPoint presentation several council meetings ago, is designated as an international general aviation operation. It is open 7 days a week. It's an airport of entry, and we have the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Agency at our airport. The organizational chart of the airport, we only have one full-time employee there, which is our utility services coordinator. He does basically the supervising of the airport, and he also has 3 temporary part-time fuel linemen, through a temp agency, which is on-site. The budget for fiscal year 2021 is $298,000. We needed to adjust because of COVID. It did affect the revenue sources coming into the airport because there was basically not a lot of people flying due to COVID. But I'm happy to report that in this couple of weeks, we started to see an increase in airplanes coming into our airport. So for fiscal year 21-22, we are proposing a budget of $454,000. Of course, this is an enterprise, so if the funding is not coming in, then we have to go back and modify the budget to make sure that we don't affect the general fund. So for this division, I am asking for 3 permanent part-time fuel linemen. As I mentioned, we currently have them through a temporary agency, and again, they are only allocated 999 hours per year, and once those hours finish, then we have to get somebody else, and it's a turnover. Our water treatment plant and our water distribution provide portable water service to our residential and industrial customers within city limits. And now there's a little brief of the water treatment plant and our water distribution. In our organizational chart, we have currently our water system supervisor who has a grade 5. We have 1 chief operator that has a grade 5, and then we have our water operator lead, which has a grade 4. We have 5 operators that have a grade 3, 1 operator that has a grade 2, and 3 laborers. For our distribution side, our water system supervisor also supervises the distribution. We have a distribution lead, which is currently vacant and is in the recruitment process. And then we also have 2 distribution operators grade 2, 3 distribution grade operators grade 1, 1 distribution operator grade 1 that is vacant, and 1 meter reader. For the budget of our water treatment plant and distribution, as you can see for our 2021, we had a budget of $5.6 million. Our proposed budget for 21-22 is $6.1, and I am requesting for an additional water distribution operator sewer lead, as well as an additional water distribution operator and an additional heavy equipment operator. Our wastewater treatment and collection division operates the wastewater collection and treatment system. In our capital improvement program, you will see that we have just finished the design phase or our wastewater treatment expansion project that hopefully will be going out soon, and that will be about a $25 to $30 million project. For our organizational chart, we have our water system supervisor, and he oversees 4 wastewater treatment operators, grade 2, 1 lab technician, 1 building maintenance, and 2 laborers. For our wastewater collection division, those are those operators that go out to the streets and make sure that the sewer lines are working properly. We have 2 collection grade 1 operators. We have 1 vacant position and also 1 electrician that is also vacant. Their budget is for 2021, $4 million. For 21-22 is 4.1, and I'm also requesting additional positions, which is an extra treatment operator grade 3, 1 collection maintenance operator grade 1, and also a heavy equipment operator. And as I mentioned earlier, our Public Works Department does about 95% of our capital improvement program. The other remaining 5% is done, for example, the fire department. They are overseeing their own fire station. The police department oversees their own capital improvement program and so forth. Yes.
On capital improvement, are these the funds then that come from SB1 partially?
Okay. So our capital improvement program is, I guess, broken down by sections. The section that is on the screen is our streets and transportation projects. These projects, there's some that have our state grants, others are federal grants, and then there's some that I do appropriate the SB1. For example, the SB1 is a portion of the allocation goes to, right now, for Scaroni Road, Weekly Road, and the Second Street Bridge widening.
Okay. Before I get to the individual projects, I wanted to ask, the design, who approves the final design for these projects? Is it case by case? Typically, like, does it come to council?
Yes, when, for capital improvement projects, what we typically do is, or in my case, is when there's an opportunity for grants, whether it's state or federal, we submit the application. If the application is awarded, or in the application process, I typically put funding for the design phase and funding for the construction, if that's allowable. There's some funding that is only for construction. But if I do put funding for design phase and construction, since we don't have a city engineer, then we do a request for proposal and get an engineer on board to assist us. So we sit down with the engineer, we let him know what we want to see in our project. They do the 30%, 60%, and 100% submittals of the plans. Once those plans, and if we have the budget, then we do go through the bidding process. Once the bidding process is done and there's a lowest bidder, I come before council.
Excellent.
So that's how the process goes when it comes to capital improvement programs within the Public Works Department.
Perfect. And last question, just very, very briefly, on 3 particular projects that are going to impact downtown mobility. Can you just tell us the purpose of, or what the initial design is, or the need behind that motivated these projects for New River Parkway, 2nd Street Bridge widening, and downtown street improvements? ¿Qué son, and what needs are they going to address?
Because we have several projects going into the downtown area, meaning the Rockwood Promenade, hopefully in the future, the Calexico Transit Center. We are going to need some improvements done within making sure that, for example, there's some sidewalks that don't have the adequate ADA ramps. So that's the funding that we set aside in case we need to replace them. Also, if there is types of, like for street lights, then we can use that funds, not all of it, but a certain portion of it to hopefully lighten up the downtown area. But mostly it's like, even if we need to overlay portion of the street, then we use a little bit of that funding for it. The 2nd Street Bridge widening, that's a project that has been for years. And that is because when you go down to 2nd Street, when you hit the bridge, instead of from 4 lanes, it goes down to 2. So we need to increase the lanes so it can be in conjunction with the existing improvements that are on 2nd Street, west of the bridge and east of the bridge.
Okay.
And then the other project, I'm sorry, I don't know.
El New River Parkway?
Oh,
Yeah, just pretty much that one.
the New River Parkway has been a project also for several years. We had received grant funding through the omnibus back in,
The original one, the River Parkway, 2005.
2005. I am, during last city council meeting, the council awarded finally the construction of phase 1. So we are working with the contractor to begin the process of issuing the notice of proceed and all the requirements to begin the construction of that project. And that will create a walkway, bike pathway along the New River towards the north of it, in between the New River and the homes that sit along the north portion of the New River.
That's beautiful. Excellent. That's nice, actually.
Question.
Sure.
So I see all these things. Where does that, I guess, just maintenance of sidewalks come in? Because as you walk around the city, I mean, you have a lot of broken, sidewalks. You know,
That- yeah.
and that, are a liability. So where does that come in on this? I mean, not specifically in this, but now just something that came to my mind, and that is an issue. So where does that fit in?
If we see that a sidewalk is broken, we have to prioritize which ones are in major need and which ones can be due in a later time. The funding for the concrete and sidewalks, we use the Streets Division Fund, which is the highway sales tax. And also for fiscal year 21-22, we have also appropriated some monies to use through SB1.
Okay, so that will be part of SB1 amongst other funding sources?
Yes, we're looking into other funding sources.
So we prioritize based on, because again, I get it, that lack of funding, the lack of, resources, but, the constant, I guess, issue for us that can become an issue. I mean, it's there. So something that can be looked at, and that is usually left up to the citizens to report. Is that correct? We don't have someone goes in that might take notes. Code enforcement.
Yes, we do have code enforcement. Also, what we do is we try our best when we do street improvement projects, that if they're going to be repairing the street, they also have to see the curb, gutter, and sidewalk. And if there's opportunities, we also include it there.
Yeah, because see, all of that, I know we don't get much rain, but when we get the one, storm, out of every year or whatever time it happens, it becomes very challenging. I remember, I think it was about a year ago, so maybe less than that, we had a huge storm, and I remember seeing some of that, our staff, by 3rd Street, up to their knees, trying to unplug, drain. So all of that, I think it's just, I know what you're asking, but I think just, I'm pretty sure there is a schedule, a plan, of kind of like looking at these things. So if that can be included, maybe consider, maybe put in this also as part of a wish list and a need, like, Chief Avila was saying yesterday also, so we have to prioritize between a need and a wish and a need, because all of those things are important, especially the sidewalks. That's just, something that we can't really afford not to look into. Thank you.
Another thing, my question is, you have 7 laborers that are permanent part-time. How long have they been like that?
They've been for about maybe 5 years, 5 or 4 years.
So, I mean, what has been taken in place to get all these people hired full-time? I know we're working on it before Dale left, so, I mean,
It is the funding availability. It's not there through our general fund. So I am not able to reclassify them or promote them to a full-time position. If I were to at least make 2 full-time positions, I will have to then reduce the hours of the other 2. So that's why, they have been as permanent part-time, because there's no funding available for them to all be full-time. And if I were to do a 2 and there's no funding available, then I would need to reduce either hours or for the other 2.
Unfortunate, but we need to look at that.
Liliana, you listed transit here as something that Public Works takes care of, and there's some things on your budget like taking care of the bus stops and what exactly does Public Works do for transit?
For transit, we have staff that on a weekly basis provides maintenance to our bus shelters, whether it's pressure washing them, removing the graffiti, picking up the trash. We're in constant communication with IACTC, since they provide also the dial-a-ride or transit. We also give our time in going to the meetings. They do quarterly meetings and also monthly meetings sometimes, so we are on constant communication to get the information from them, and then either come to council or let our public know. And also if there is an additional stop that is added, we purchase the bus shelter and city staff installs it using all of the TDA money. It's not general fund.
Okay. The reason I bring up that comment because I know that Public Works also takes care of the street and I'm guessing also the street design, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So other cities have been really good about making sure that when they redesign their streets, and like we've discussed previously, that it's a complete street design that has a bus lane or has a little area where the bus stop is very much accommodated. That some cities have intelligent sensors on their stoplights to make sure that when a bus is approaching, that it is prioritized, that it's always a green light, to encourage people to use public transportation. And so I wanted to ask, out of the budget, future budgets, this budget and future budgets, to reflects a very particular need in our community that impacts the services that the rest of the departments give. So the problem is this, and this has been this way for decades. The west side of Calexico feels very excluded. They feel like they don't get their fair share of city services. They even feel discriminated because that's the lower income side. They have the worst air quality. Their parks, are not of the same standard. Cordoba's all the way on the west side, and the library's on the west side, the community center's on the west side. Just about every major service that we provide is on the west side. So if this is a community without any public transportation, unfortunately, what do you have? You have low-income students from the west side walking to school in the morning, heat, rain, shine, whatever. They walk an hour to go to school, and they walk that hour to be able to access essential services, because when you're low income, you're less likely to have internet, more likely to depend on Carnegie, Camarena Library, and the city, and this is a main reason the west side does not feel included. So there's a very specific way we can attack that, and either we're going to open a library on the west side, or we're going to set ourselves up to have transportation to bring those students reliably to the services that they're more likely to depend on. West side students, fortunately, they need those services less. They're higher income, they have cars, they have internet. That's just the demographics of our city. So respectfully, I would like to see in this budget or future budgets, as you talk with ICTC, I would like to hear from ICTC in our street design what we can invest in, whether it's those stoplights, whether it's a road diet, whether it's bus lanes on certain avenues, especially as 111 is ceded to us. I would like to see what are some options, because we need to link the west side to the services that the west side to the services that are centered in the east side. And on the side of our representative, Ms. Fernandez, on ICTC, as you go into those board meetings, I would respectfully request that you keep the west side in mind. I mean, I think it's very unequal that the city of El Centro has 2 fully funded bus lines by ICTC. They're the similar size population, but they get 2 bus lines that operate on the west side and on their east side, and we get nothing, and we just need one. If we can get a basic one from west to east, get some priorities to get our street ready for that kind of project, maybe think about a 2 to 3 year time frame. This would be a great way to make sure that the west side is included in the beautiful services that recreation, Camarena, and other things that we have on the east side. It'd be a great move for equality if we can bring that up to ICTC as soon as possible.
No.
So just to finish it off, like I mentioned, the slideshow in front of you is just our streets and transportation projects that are on our CIP, which is 21 million. The next slide is our general government which includes the Rockford Promenade, park improvements. Also, we were hopefully able to purchase vehicles for our streets departments, our parks departments, and again, our Heber Park expansion project, and then our community center playground equipment, which, and of course, our New River Calexico Reach is a $26 million project, so it's a total of $33 million for just the general government category. And then we have our water treatment and distribution projects that total up to $14 million, and our wastewater treatment and collection projects that equal $26 million, which includes the larger project is our wastewater treatment plant expansion upgrade project that hopefully will begin the bidding process soon. So the projects that the Public Works in total works under the capital improvement program is $95 million and counting. And I say counting because every time there's an opportunity to submit a grant application, we do our best to submit a grant. And I know that it has been discussed about either getting somebody on staff or getting a grants writer, consultant. But I just want to remind you, it is great that we can have the opportunity to do that. But once the grant is awarded, there is the procurement process. There is whether it's a construction project. So there is going to be staff needed for that. I have limited staff. I can do my best and help out. But if it's a federal or state grant, each of them have their own guidelines. So, they will also need additional staff to assist through that project, to make sure that we are following all the guidelines that are required, to make sure that the project is getting done, and also the closure of the project, because once it's constructed, there's still a lot of documentation that you need to submit for the closure. And that is all for my presentation. If you have any additional questions?
Any more questions?
No.
I have only one question. In this report, Calexico International Airport, where are the income, Ms. Farley?
It's the income comes from the sales of fuel, also the rent, the lease, the rent of the hangars, the lease hangars, as well as because the wastewater treatment plant sits on airport property, they also pay for the lease of the property. So it's a combination of leases, it's a combination of sales of fuel, it's a combination of also tie downs. If an airplane comes and has to be at the airport for several days, there's an additional cost for that. So it's a combination of how they get their funding.
I remember Mr. Figueroa told us about 2 new projects in the airport. That's okay? For the next year. For the next year.
Yes, those 2 projects we are working in coordination with Mr. Figueroa and the people that want to come and develop.
Not included, right?
No, that's not included yet here because it's in the design phase.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Farley.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you. I guess quite interesting. Thank you so much for your reports. This meeting is adjourned.